It is 10:30. It is the 21st day of January 2020. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, and I'm doing something I rarely do. Let's talk about a TV show, specifically WandaVision. And if you haven't seen WandaVision yet, spoilers ahead. Okay, I'm not going to be the first guy to talk about WandaVision. I'm probably not going to be the last guy to talk about WandaVision. I'm definitely not the most educated or thing to talk about WandaVision. I'm not a comic book guy. I mean, the show is interesting. I want to see where it goes. The best way to describe it is Nick at Night meets the Twilight Zone. So if you're not familiar with the premise, Wanda Maximoff, the individual character from Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, Ultron, a very powerful person whose powers are nebulous at best, depending upon the writing. She's been a telekinetic, a telepath, an empath. She can fly. She has energy blast. She can warp reality. She was powerful enough to take out Thanos. Her powers definitely fluctuate, much like her accent, depending upon the writer. Yes, but there she is in the MCU. The last time we saw her at the end of Endgame, she was a hero, and her powers seemed to be telekinesis, energy, blasty stuff. And she got her powers from one of the Infinity Stones, specifically the Mind Stone, which would explain telepathy and telekinesis. Then we have Vision, the character played by the multi-talented Paul Bettany, who is an android that was originally created by Ultron, but he gained free will and he decided to become a good guy. And Wanda and Vision have this weird relationship. And apparently there's kissing and snogging and married couple stuff going on between the two of them. So I guess he's a fully functional android. Yeah. And his powers are basically density control, energy blast. He's a super android with an AI, so he can compute stuff, But, spoilers, he dies in Infinity War Endgame. So WandaVision presents us with this weird universe where Wanda and Vision are married. Vision is still alive. It starts as a late 1950s, early 1960s sitcom. It follows all the tropes of the late 1950s, early 1960s sitcoms. Bewitched and the Dick Van Dyke Show are definitely the origin cornerstones of the flavor of the comedy aspect. But then, of course, there's all this weird Twilight Zone-y stuff going on because, she's got powers, he's got powers. How do you explain that they're now in this black and white TV show? Blah, blah, blah. So the general belief is, out of her grief and after all, PTS and after everything that happened at the end game, she goes somewhere, we think out New Jersey, and either by herself or with help from an external source that will be revealed at the end of the first season, creates this pocket reality, this dream reality where all these things are happening. Vision is alive. They're having these 1950, 1960 sitcom married couple bewitched style hijinks, but slowly but surely the reality outside the little bubble is slipping in. There's definitely something ominous going on. Okay, so how did she do this? Because apparently she can also warp reality or create reality. Now, telepathy and telekinesis, which seems to be her powers through most of the shows, she got her powers from the Mind Stone, not the Reality Stone. But now she can warp reality. Why? How is she getting help from an external source? That her powers are now reality warping? Is her telepathy and telekinesis powerful enough that she can literally warp in reality and create this little dreamscape? Is this all going on in her head? Is there an blah, blah, blah. The big question, though, that seems to be boggling the minds of most of the other reviewers is, how is Vision still alive? We saw him get killed at the end of Infinity War. How is Vision still alive? Okay, well, Vision is an android. He is a computer AI based upon Ultron, Tony Stark, supercharged with the powers of the Mind Stone, and also a little bit of Bruce Banner in there. Now, at the end of Infinity War, we saw Shuri, the Black Panther's super intelligent sister, basically backing some of him up. So he's a computer program. So how is he still alive? Well, he's a computer program in a body. He was not necessarily dead, because if the computer program is backed up, if there's even some of the code out there somewhere, in Jarvis, in Friday, out in the internet sphere, then he still exists, much the same way Ultron still can technically exist, because he's a computer program in a body. He's a free-willed AI, free-moving AI. He can easily have, part of his consciousness still out there. So technically, he's not dead. His physical body was destroyed. His power source was ripped out of his head, but he wasn't solely the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone was just part of him. There was other things that made him up, like Jarvis, Ultron, Tony Stark, just being a super advanced intelligence. He was a super advanced artificial intelligence before the Mind Stone. So how is Vision still alive in this alternate reality? Because he's not. He's not. This is an alternate reality created by Wanda's wibbly-wobbly dream powers and possibly an external source. So the Vision we're seeing is not the Vision we know. It's Wanda's projection of what she thinks the Vision should be, and how the reality affects this Vision. It's possibly she tapped into the interweb and downloaded some of the Vision code that's still out there. But Vision currently does not have a body. That does not mean Vision could not have a body in the future, because that program could find a new body that looks exactly like the previous body or looks differently. We could have the whole, Wonder Man, Grim Reaper, Vision storyline. There's definitely some hints of that, or at least they want us to think that's going on. So, yeah. So the big mystery is, how is Vision back? And the big answer is, he's not. Okay, he's not back. This is all in Wanda's head. So episode 1 and episode 2 show us the progression of the weird universe, characters appearing and disappearing, switching from 1950s, early 1960s style of comedy sitcoms to late 1960s, beginning of 1970s early sitcoms. We're going out of black and white into color. How do we explain the fact that 5 minutes ago Wanda's universe was black and white, and now Wanda's universe is color and operating by completely different rules, because now it's operating by the late 60s, early 70s rules? And then I guess in episode 3 will be in the late 60s, early 70s Brady Bunch style of sitcoms, just because it's wibbly wobbly reality manipulation. Wanda's brain, she's just basing it upon what she knows, and growing up in a war-torn Chechnya style world, probably her only access to the real world until she was freed by the Avengers is through American television. And so she probably grew up, even before she got her powers, by watching Nick at Night reruns in Slovakia or wherever she's from, Segovia. And so that's why that it's based upon this weirdness. Or maybe the external source is feeding her these ideas, because maybe the external source only knows old American sitcoms. We don't know. But how is Vision back? He's not. His physical body is still destroyed. What you're seeing in the show is a projection of Wanda's powers, her desires to have this perfect life with Vision, free of the outside world and all its responsibilities and pain. Wanda's obviously got serious PTS, and she has created this super realized version of this android that she thought she was in love with. and there is possibly an external source that is further propagating this illusion, because from a comic book role-playing gamer point of view, how does Wanda go from the Mind Stone influenced ability of telekinesis and telepathy to reality warping? It's not the Mind Stone's thing. It's that's the Reality Stone's thing, and that's not what gave her powers. It was the Mind Stone. I don't know. I think they just stopped trying. Still, it's a great show. It's very weird. It's very wacky. It's a loving tribute to the old classic sitcoms. Again, it's sort of Twilight Zone meets Nick at Night. So if you have a chance to check it out, do. If no other reason, then it's the first Marvel thing we've seen in 2 years, and it is our door into the next phase of the Marvel Universe. It wasn't the show that they thought they were going to have on first. They thought Winter Soldier and Falcon was going to be the first show, and WandaVision was going to be like the third or fourth show but the COVID and just whatever. This was the first show that was ready. So they decided to start the new phase with this show to show us that, you know what, there's a lot of weird shit in the Marvel Universe. And now it's time for us to sort of introduce it to you. There you go. If you appreciate this content, let me know down below. Please subscribe if you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet. That's it for me. I will talk to you later. WandaVision, 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 WandaVision. The show is weird but awesome.